So the LiveRamp TV platform has been around for a while, specifically in the beginning focused on addressable linear, so working with all the cable providers. We expanded that to be working with more TV programmers. And that addressability is about looking at how many households you can reach against a specific audience type. Now, those universe sizes are important because that tells you potential scale of households. But what we did for CTV, which we launched this version of the platform, this extension for streaming in October, was to be able to now get much more granular inside ad server logic. So integrating with ad servers allows us to now not just look at how many potential households you can reach, but how many specific ad breaks are available for a specific audience. When it comes to CTV in general, even though by nature it's a bit more like digital than it is traditional linear, it's been difficult to see the market scaling in the use of addressability. And part of the reason why is that it's a little bit difficult to forecast an audience from a marketer. So the marketer obviously maybe in this use case has an audience that's an electric car intender, right? The electric car intender audience can be put onto RampID as we work with several hundred brands to be able to make their first party data available to the ad ecosystem. But that audience now on a RampID would have a difficult time with a programmer or CTV platform to know how much of that audience they have. The integrations into this platform are bringing together that capability to look at actual ad break level matches for a strategic audience. What is new about the Iris data is that Iris data brings contextual intelligence into the planning and forecasting process, which is really important. So the idea of all of the data around what a piece of content is. So now this isn't audiences. This is what kind of content is this, the genre, the length, who are the actors in it, what episode is it, all of those important factors that are surrounding every piece of content. We found a way to integrate the Iris data alongside RampID. And that's pretty groundbreaking in the fact that you now have the ability to look at both audience and context around content together.
Now lately we've been hearing about this idea of fluidity. What does fluidity mean, and how does this idea apply to the current needs of marketers, media buyers, programmers, sellers, the whole marketplace?
Yeah, fluidity has been long associated with how agencies conduct upfronts with the big TV programmers. Fluidity in its past concept was something along the lines of 80% would be tied to this schedule and some tentpole events, and then 20% of the budget can go into digital and new platforms like streaming, maybe mobile video when all of those things were arising. So fluidity was a great way to just put some budget towards emerging platforms. But I think we're now at a place where the emerging platforms are equally or more important than what was the traditional platform. You know, every TV programmer is very deeply invested in their streaming platform, and it's a global opportunity. So if you're gonna move to true fluidity, meaning it's not about percentages anymore, meaning 80% here, 20% there, it's how much potential scale do you have around all this type of content that is available in an on-demand or even like a fast channel environment, and being able to also understand who those audiences are that are watching all this content in all these different ways, and being able to sell, package, and buy, plan all of those concepts in that fluid way. So moving from percentages and moving to a bit more of a strategic plan.
That's really interesting. So now looking ahead to this year's Upfront, how does the solution that you've announced today work?
This is really going to help the idea of this notion of I want to be more fluid. I would like to just be a little bit more opportunistic in terms of how I'm selling. So from the seat of a programmer or a CTV platform, they would now have the confidence to be able to go into the negotiations and the upfronts and be able to offer much more cross-screen addressable audiences, being able to bring much more scale into strategic targeting in CTV, making addressability something that's not a small part of the budget, but a much bigger part of the budget. And that's now going to be possible in this unified platform. It's in the UI, so it's something that is actually hands-on keyboard ready. And those sellers can use it to get packaging ready for after the upfronts, or they can use it to prepare for the upfronts. Buyers, as we roll this out, are going to be able to submit RFPs through this system, right? So a buyer who's got a strategic audience, they've got a first-party data set, and they also know that they're doing really well with, let's say, golf, tennis, and these kinds of sports. But in a world of on-demand, where there's not as many scheduled events where people are watching, but they might be just watching on-demand clips of these sports, how do you prepare for that? How do you understand the potential scale of what you can reach against that first-party audience and this type of content? This is going to be their capability to now directly interact with the sell side and get much better inputs from them so that they can do better planning on their side as well.